Good morning, everybody. Welcome into the grounds. There's Uncle Pete right there. Uncle Pete says, if you throw that into your URL, you are going to be part of this show, much like the guy over there. The guy right that way.
The guy right here,
hanging
next to you.
That guy.
Am I vibrating this morning?
That's it.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome. It's been a fun week, although it's starting to rain like crazy. Fall has really set in.
Hey, that is good. Big shout out to our good friends. You'll see it scrolling across the bottom. Our good friends over at Natural Therapy Wellness Center, www.mchenrymassage.com. And of course, our good friends over at JH Events and Flowers. Check them out. It's $5 Friday. Going into Halloween, nothing says Halloween more than a bouquet of flowers. And just want to shout out to our another great sponsor, DCCS, Enterprise Solutions That Work. Check them out at godccs.com. And hey, Steve's in this morning. This morning we want to the question is posed, why is it so hard for Americans to ask for help? You wanted to talk about this, Scott. Give us a little background.
Well, through my journey in life, it's always been a fear of mine, I guess, to I shouldn't say always, but earlier in life was a fear of talking to people, asking people for help, asking someone to extend an olive branch, so to speak, to me to help me out. I was always really worried about how I would come across to people if I was asking them for help, like, hey, this guy's an idiot or whatever. So for me, it was a real detriment to me because I was talking myself out of getting help before I got help because I was afraid of what the outcome would be. You know what I mean? A fear of being judged or just, someone looking at you and saying, oh my God, this guy's an idiot. Why is he asking me this question? When a lot of times in the exact opposite, a lot of people are really willing to help and want to help, right? Such as me and you. I mean, over at the studio, that's daily dose of encouragement, trying to encourage people to help them become a better version of themselves, right? And it kind of perplexed me because I was talking to some other people this week about the same type of thing. Is why don't you, or have you? And a lot of people kind of came up with the same idea or the same comments that I'm just really afraid or scared of what's going to come out of that conversation and how I'm going to be viewed, which really bothered me. I thought I was the only one. And so why is it that we are, as a society, apprehensive to reach out to people that have already been where we've been or are knowledgeable in what we do to help us in our journey to better it?
I don't know the circle that you're asking, the age that you're asking those questions. Y'all afraid or scared how I'm going to be viewed? Are Americans really that, I don't know, pretentious? Is that the word I want to use? I don't know. I got to worry about what somebody thinks about me.
I don't have the screen. Would I have the screen or no? Not normally from the chat comments.
Yeah, you might.
I don't see that on my end. There we go.
And Andrew says we're raised with it's a sign of weakness, America.
Well, right, and that's that's actually a really good comment. It's a sign of weakness, and that's to me in itself, that's really bothersome, because why are you weak if you're looking for help? I mean, isn't that really make you strong? A stronger person actually being able to reach out and ask somebody and say, hey, I don't know everything. Well, I got a
I
nice
don't,
shiny face, don't I?
I don't know. We need to. I need some help. Somebody click this link and jump in here this morning. I need some help. Let's go. Streamyard.com. There you go. Because there's 8 acres here. All right. Put that in your URL. Come in and help us understand why asking for help is a sign of weakness in America.
Yeah, I mean, I try to think back to, my grade school days and stuff like that, and I know that my learning capabilities were probably less than uh, great, or probably not even average at best. And so I know for me, I felt dumb asking questions like to teachers, because I was thinking that I was the only one that might have had that issue or not had knowledge of that specific subject. And I didn't want to stand out and look dumb to them, right? So I just sat back and wallowed in trying to figure it out myself. And if I couldn't, I didn't. And I, got a D or an F on the test and just moved forward. So for me, I'm not scared. I was more embarrassed, I guess, because I had said earlier, maybe scared or afraid. Is it maybe that we're embarrassed that we don't know everything, that we have to admit that we don't know everything, and, accept help from people that have been where we're at? I mean, oh, there you go. Don says, what? It is strange. We think others will think like we are weak if we ask for help, but I never think someone else is weak if they ask for help. Right. So we are our own worst enemies, right? I mean, so we're kind of beating ourselves up before we even get to that point, right? Because I know I am, and I know you are, Kent, and a lot of other people that we hang out and deal with is, they like to help. I mean, that's for me. I enjoy it because it makes me feel better that I know I'm probably helping somebody that might have been in the same situation that I was, where they're very embarrassed or afraid, if you will, depending on the situation, to actually come out and say, hey, I don't know. How can you help me? Can you help me?
Hey, listen, if you're out there in Metaverse, jump over to YouTube, like, follow, subscribe, ring the bell to our YouTube 216 Creator Studios out there, 216 the net. We're trying to drive everybody kind of that way. We're asking for your help in increasing our numbers out there on YouTube. So, Facebook user, I don't know if that's Shayna or that's Lisa this morning. The nightmare of asking for help and feeling obligated to accept an imperfect solution or hurting feelings. You're going to have to go deeper on that one for me. The nightmare of asking for help and feeling obligated to accept. So I'm going to throw it here,
Totally.
and I'm going to say it started when you were very, very young. A lot of people who are afraid to ask for help is we have, hey, look at this guy's in. Thank you, Don.
Good morning, Don. How you doing, buddy?
I entered in the Earl.
There you go. Thank you. I'm gonna put it this way. I think it is how you were raised. You when you asked for help, whoever helped you, whether that be a parent, a teacher, a neighbor, whoever helped you, were probably like, figure this out, Scott. Right? Or I can't believe you're so dumb. You can't just move aside. Let me do it.
I don't
Okay.
think that you would be wrong in that. I don't think people said that, but I think in my head, I mean, that
somebody said it somewhere, right? That's not something that we grow up where we're afraid of loud noises and falling. There's our fears, right? So something went awry someplace. And in America, and I can only speak for America because I have the voice to speak for America, is
you are the voice of America.
he has the face for radio.
We somewhere along the line have taken the definition of hand out versus hand up, if I'm asking for help,
oh, I like that.
If I'm asking for help, I'm not asking you to do it. And I think a lot of us are ashamed or afraid or have an ego that gets in the way that says, you know what? I'm dumb. Right, man, here we go. We're getting everybody up in here. This is a good topic this morning. Drew is in.
Good morning, Drew.
So I think somewhere along somewhere one of our elders somewhere along our timeline, if you're one of the people who are afraid to ask for help, rolled the eyes. You're an idiot. How do you not know this? God, watch out. Step aside. Move over. And now, when I ask for help, I'm asking us to lock arms and work on this together, or for you to give me a little push. I'm not asking for you to do it, right? So I think we don't. The people who are afraid to ask for help, are have their definition of hand out versus hand up incorrect.
That's interesting. I don't think you're wrong. And
I'm never wrong. It's my show.
Well, I think first of all, I think you described my wife to a T on that one.
What's that, Drew?
I said you described my wife to a T on that one. What are you, an idiot? Yes, honey. I'm sorry.
Yes, baby, I love you.
As she's standing right there. Hi, honey. No, did I say it good? Did I say it good?
Is that a red laser on your forehead?
He asked for too much help.
Right. You know, listen. There's a lot of people that are conditioned in a certain way to where they do feel it's a sign of weakness for asking for help. And I think it's about who you're asking help with, right? Like, listen, in my family, asking help with a peer in my family would be like, I would rather put hot spoons in my eyes, right? Because then, no, you got one up. Oh, yeah, you needed my help. My help? You kind of get that mentality, right? Versus going outside of the spectrum to somebody that maybe you're just an acquaintance to where, hey, man, yeah, I'll help you out kind of scenario. So I think it also depends on who you're talking to, who you're asking to help with. It is okay to let down your guard and ask for help. There's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't make you. And Scott, I agree with you. There was times in school where I was like, everybody else seems to get this but me, so I'm just going to play along, right? And now, when I do put two numbers together, I get a color. So, you know,
that never happened to me.
Right. So, you know, it's one of those things. So I do think it also matters on who you're asking and the situation of what the help is being asked for.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, person and situation makes a difference, but the individuals that I'm kind of talking about are, what's the word to say? Just, I don't even want to say introverted, but they know that I have their best interest in mind, if you will.
Do they?
Well, I feel
that might be part of the problem.
Well, right. Okay. Exactly. And that's, so I feel that they know that I've said that I have my, their best interest in mind, or that some of you're asking, you got to choose. But I think when I said fear earlier, I think you hit it better on the spot when you said embarrassment. Right. Because I know the first time I went out and asked for help, which after I did that and they helped me solve that problem, I was like, damn, that really wasn't as big a beast as I made it up to be in my mind, thinking how they're going to react to me. You're going, no, hey, thanks for asking. Right. Like,
right.
It's just great because what I've found, and I know Kent, and I don't know so much about you, Drew, and I apologize, but like, we love to talk.
And Don. So Don.
Well, Don's old, so
why
I can't.
Is Don left out of the picture all of a sudden?
Well, because that's how I was going to get to that. I was going to say Don's old. He asked
you should be embarrassed.
Yeah, that's right. Baby. Starts up today, right?
Yeah.
There we go.
Well, but like for me, I like talking to older people, right? To get their knowledge, to get their take on life and what's worked for them.
Whatever you're into, Scott. Whatever you're into.
I didn't say I said talk. I didn't say that.
Here comes that young whippersnapper again.
Yeah.
Hey, Facebook user says, if I ask for help with an interpersonal conflict, looking for a different perspective, and instead get a they're just an asshole, quote unquote. I get stuck processing your lack of depth. It's disappointing. Hyper independent traits could indicate an unresolved childhood wound. That must, and again, I don't know. Is this Shayna or is this Lisa? I don't know. This
Right.
It's Shayna Lisa.
That's it.
Shalisa.
Yeah.
Shalisa. It's a new name.
They're like Voltron. Together they form one thing. You know.
Yeah.
Well, I think there's a lot of again, it all depends on how you were raised, but on our side, hey Shayna, all right. On our side is I feel that I know a lot of stuff, and then my ego gets hurt when people don't ask me for help. Right. And I'm like, why can't they ask me for help? All I want to do is help. Right. And it's not that it's maybe they don't want to ask me for help. Right. Because they know that I am the guy who's going to make the stupid wisecracks through the whole event. Right. And they're like, I really don't want to put up with this dickhead today. Right. You know what I mean? It's like, I love you when I'm drunk. You're a good guy, Kent, but Jesus, I don't need all this shit. You know,
right.
All I asked you was to help me put a box in my fucking truck.
Right? We don't need a comedian every 10 seconds.
Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. Kent, you raise a good point, Kent, that I think that one of the ways I try to think about it is, like I said, I bet you each one of you would say when people ask you for help and you can help them, it feels good. You're helping someone out. It's actually a positive thing for you. So you could actually look at it. If you don't ask others for help, you're depriving them of that opportunity. And some people don't want to help, and you can learn that pretty quickly.
That's right.
But again, in a lot of ways, we can take something positive away from somebody simply because we won't even allow them into our lives enough to help us.
Yeah.
Because of that fear we have of, and I would agree, it's more embarrassment than it's fear. Raised as boys in America, so we're told we should know it or figure it out yourself, or
so right. You'll figure it out.
Drilled in us, yeah.
So what brought me out to the great state of Illinois was an entrepreneurial adventure creating a coffee shop. At that point in my life, my parents invested some money into that coffee shop, right? 2 years later, the coffee shop closes like a lot of restaurants do, out of some bad business choices by the guy in pink shirt. And my brothers, all right, I got 3 older brothers, of course, when we get together, right? I can't believe.
The coffee flop, not the coffee shop. Huh?
Right.
Why would you let it get this far, Ken?
Right. So,
what's wrong with you?
Right. But come to find out, my brothers knew how to run the coffee shop obviously better than I did. And none of them run a coffee shop. Okay.
Right.
So, on this adventure at DDOE, I don't go to them for advice. I don't ask them for help. And when we get together, they always say, "Hey, how's your podcast?"
Awesome.
And I go, which one?
Yeah, right.
Which one of the 22 are you talking about? You know what I mean? So a lot of times, the old biblical saying, right, Don, a prophet's not a prophet in their hometown. You're certainly not in your family. So, and when it comes to business, they all have an opinion about my business on how to do it better than none of them know and none of them are doing. And so because of what I learned when the coffee shop failed and what their attitudes were, I would never, ever ask for help in this business venture or any business venture from my family because of what was said in the past. So I'm not afraid to ask for help. I'm just not going to from that particular
Choosing
set
not
of
to ask
people.
them for help. Yeah.
Right. I'm going to go to a guy like Scott, a guy like Drew. I'm going to go to a guy like Don, somebody that, I take a look, I go, man, they're successful in what they do. And of course, Scott, you advertised here for a few years, so everybody knows yours. Drew, owner of DCCS, Enterprise Solutions That Work. And so when I look at that, they might sit there and be able to tell me and have all these ideas on how to, for me to run my business and my life, right? And then they go, oh, I mean, so the crowning achievement for Kent was when my daughter got married. My whole family came out, and they took a look. We enjoyed it. Not one of them said, "Hey, where's your studio? What does it look like?" Right? And I'm like. And they stayed right at the hotel across the street.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Did that
So a lot
drive
of I think why Americans don't ask for help is maybe I'm not afraid to ask for help. I just don't want you to help. If that makes sense.
Well, and that's where I was getting to before. Listen, it's when you have like my brother before my brother passed. My brother was my mentor, and he knew everything, right? According to him, just ask him; he would tell
We're
you.
not going down the mentor road. Jesus
Right.
I was going to
Christ.
say,
Right.
was he your coach or your mentor, right?
That's next week's show.
Hold on a
Last
second. I got
last
a
week's
scratch. Let me scratch real
Hey,
quick.
how you do? How you do? Sorry.
So and it's one of those things, right? He's my brother. If I needed to ask for his help, I probably wouldn't, because if I asked Scott for help on something, he would help me focus on the problem. He wouldn't help focus on me being the problem. Where my brother would be like, "Why would you do it that way?" And "What were you thinking?" The whole time he's trying to help me, I want to murder him, right? So it's also one of those things. The closer you are to somebody, sometimes is the worst person to ask for help.
Yeah.
So
of course, we just want all the bots out there. Murder was just used in a sentence. We're not looking to cause harm to anybody.
Allegedly. Don, why do you say those things?
That was Steve.
Down, Don.
No, that was Steve.
I'm gonna talk with my cup to my mouth, so you don't know it's me now.
You guys reminded. Oh, go ahead, read that one.
Shana says helping others creates a connection. Some are strategic with their help, depending on an assumed future return. So true, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the old.
I don't
Go
know
ahead,
about
Don.
the future. I don't know about the future return part of it for me. I don't help somebody if they ask looking for a return from them in the future. My I guess take out of it is to see someone else achieving their goals or their dreams, because that's just the way I am. I like to see people. Well, I like people to be happy. I mean, that's pretty obvious, but I like people to see that they are worthy and that they can succeed, and they might need a little help, a little bit of a nudge to push past that point, or they don't really know that answer, right? And I want to help them because this is what's helped propel me and my wife and my family to where we are, in the world right now, because we did ask questions, because we went outside of our comfort zones, right? And asked people and kind of sucked it up a little bit. I mean, you can go to seminars and you can go to conferences and all this stuff, but for me, I think a lot of my best help was like more one-on-one, personal. I get what Drew was saying about sometimes the worst person to ask is someone close to you. But then I also feel in a way that for me, the closest person, asking someone close to me, I'd feel like they actually would have my back, and really have more of a desire or hope to help me forward, right? Like I'm gonna get the truth out of, at least I'm assuming that I'm gonna get the truth out of my family. Like Drew and Kent, I know you guys are gonna not color code shit for me, right? You're gonna tell me how it is, and then if you see that maybe it offended me a little bit, you'll kind of crack a joke, but then you'll also You know what I mean? Be like, I'll understand that you really, it comes out of a love and, hey, you asked me.
I carry a burp rag around when I talk to Scott so I can wipe his tears.
So hard.
I usually just wear earbuds and nod my head a lot when he's talking.
Hey, listen. It's only when I'm singing and dancing like listening to blues. What?
Just yeah. I have no idea what Scott just said. But,
So you guys work for me, huh?
Yeah, Lisa says, and good morning, Lisa. Oftentimes, asking for help makes people feel someone will see them as incapable, or even more often, they fear someone will reject the request or make them pay a bigger price owed.
Ouch.
Everyone helps for a reason, even if at times that reason is to feel good about themselves.
Yeah,
I think there's a lot of motivations for why people help one another, and we'd like to think it's always just purely for the other person. But I guess I have no problem with somebody helps me and it makes them feel good. I've got no problem with that. But one of the things you guys were talking about is who you ask for help and maybe you don't, and is it someone close to you? I think sometimes we make the mistake of asking for help from people who really don't know our situation, so they really are not equipped to help. Or sometimes we get unsolicited help. There's a researcher, I think she's at the University of Houston. Her name is Dr. Brene Brown. She researches shame. What an interesting thing to research. But I'll remember a quote she said once that stuck with me, and it was, if you're not with me down on the field of battle, fighting it out with me day in, day out, I don't really want to hear your feedback.
Yeah.
Her point being is if you're not fighting with me and working, in the trenches with me, how can you tell me? Because again, I think you mentioned it earlier, Kent. There's a lot of experts who have no idea what they're talking about, right?
Oh,
yeah.
And so I think who we ask advice of is, and again, sometimes the worst advice sometimes is the unsolicited advice. But I always tell people, I still would say, if anybody gives you advice, unsolicited or solicited, the only response is thank you.
There you go.
You get to choose what to do with it.
Right. Yeah, I was just going to say, you get to choose what to do with it and how to take it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because what are you going to do? Look at somebody and be like, well, thanks, or just be a jerk about it. Just take it, move on, thank them. Because most of the time, I think people have a genuine, interest in helping you forward. Whether that comment came out as constructive or not is a different story, whether it works for you or not. But last thing you want to do is tell them, don't ask them again, or just when they say, hey, thank you, right?
Thank you.
Like
and people don't know how to receive data either. They don't know how to receive a compliment. They don't know how to, not only for the person to ask, if everybody knows everything, and then you're the only one that doesn't know anything, so you got to ask everybody else for help. They don't know how to receive it. They don't know how to, what am I going to do? Hey, Scott, I have a problem with my car. I know you can help me with this, right? So you'd be like, that's the muffler bearings and the turbocharger fluid's not full.
Muffler bearings.
And I'd be like, wow, I didn't even know that was a thing, right? Yeah, right. But if I was like, hey, Scott, I need you to help me build this computer, you would be like, of course, I know everything about computers. But then we're sitting there like two idiots not knowing anything about computers. So it's one of those things, if you are asking the right person or not asking the right person, but also about yourself. If you are afraid of how to receive the data, sometimes you're going to come across, if you know how to filter out all the bullshit and keep the information you want, you can move forward as happy as a camper. But a lot of times our emotions get in the way. So we go, oh, dang, he's right, but I got to listen since him basically talk to me like I'm a moron. And, he's cutting me down every 5 seconds, but the data's there. I know the answer now. Yeah. How you deliver it, how you receive it are big, right? So
absolutely.
I think that's
sorry about that. Okay, Kelly Vance, of course, the host of The Bridge, coming up at 9 o'clock this morning, says, oftentimes we don't ask for help because in today's culture, everyone is too busy. You start to ask and you can almost feel them thinking it's an inconvenience. A focus on self in our culture and the overpacked schedules don't nurture a helping environment. Yeah, so true, right? Oh, I'd love to, but I've got a thing.
Yeah,
Right.
well, I tell you, that's a great point, and I think that at the end of the day, people make time for what's important to them. If helping that person is important, you'll make time. If it's not important, you won't make time. And again, I think that's again reading your quote unquote reading your audience. If you can tell someone's not wanting to help, then that's just not a source. It doesn't mean they're bad people. Doesn't mean it's just that's not a place to go for help.
Yeah.
But I think we make time for what's important to us. And I always use the term tank fillers and tank drainers. There's things we do in our day, in our jobs, in our companies, for you guys that drain our tank. Stuff you have to do, but it kind of drains your tank. But then there's things that you do that fill your tank. For me, somebody asking for my help in my role at work is a tank filler.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Not a tank drainer. And sometimes you have to let people know that. No, it's okay if you call to ask. In fact, please do. It makes my day better when you ask for help, not worse. But again, we're all different. And some people, that's quite the opposite. It can be real aggravating.
And I think it also depends too on what the help is. You know, like, listen, I'm going to be completely honest. I'll help anybody do anything, but there's certain things where I'll be real choosy about. Like, oh, you want me to help you move? Okay, well, and this is where Scott said before, he's like, well, I would never look for anything in return in the future. Well, that's regurgitated bullshit 90% of the time, because I'm going to help you move, but you better remember that when I'm moving.
I would help you. I would help you by saying, "Here's the number to two men in a truck."
Two men in a truck, right? So sometimes, and listen, I help a lot of people do a lot of things and never expect anything in return, because you just want to help. You just want to pay it forward, right? And I'm not downing what you said, Scott. Just
no, I get it. No, I totally get it. That's why there's certain things.
There's certain things where it's like, you know, I'll help only close family members and friends, you know, move. I don't like moving things like that. I'm not great at it. As a matter of fact, if I slack off enough doing it, they'll never ask me again. Yeah. It might be the best. We're going to move again. Don't ask Drew, dude. He's just in the way.
So what you're saying is there isn't anyone you wouldn't help.
Yeah.
That's what Shayna asked. Is there anyone who you wouldn't help?
Yeah, of course. There's people that, you know, if you're reaching for daggers all the time from somebody and they're asking for your help, would you help them? No, you probably wouldn't. You know, if somebody's out there,
here's how I would answer that. Is there is no one that I wouldn't help, but there are situations in which I wouldn't help.
Right.
Right. I mean, I had a good friend, Jeff. He was from the Milwaukee area, and he kept wanting me to, you know, store some frozen meat. And I didn't have a chest freezer. So I was like, listen, Jeff, I can't do it.
I can't help you there.
Can't help you there.
That's an easy
to find out.
Intellectual knowledge needed.
Yeah, right.
I'm looking for intellectual help, not freezer space.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Hey, what do you think would cut through a leg bone better? You know,
Sawzall.
You better.
I'm sorry, I didn't know that.
Cutting through a leg. Yeah.
I would not use the wood, blade. Use a nice fine-toothed metal blade. But you know what I'm saying. So I don't think there's anybody I wouldn't help, but there are situations in which I wouldn't help. Right?
There's certain. I mean, there are certain instances that you just should not stick your 2 cents into, right? I mean, and that's something as you know, if you want to call yourself a helper, a mentor, or just a friend, that you have to decipher that does not make sense. That you have to bow out, right? Like there's certain places that we as humans just should not be involved.
Well, especially if it's especially if you're helping somebody do something illegal. Yeah. You know what I mean? I mean, there's you know,
just because you're helping somebody doesn't make you a fucking mentor. Let's just put it there. Okay?
That's why I said coach. Or coach.
We've hit a chord there. We've hit a nerve there, haven't we?
Hey, Deke, tell us how you really feel.
Right. Lisa says the guru books say you do it for no reason, and I disagree. I think we should be aware of our intentions and why we choose to help. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. In both cases, it's another step of awareness to ourselves.
Yeah, go ahead, finish up.
Yeah, there are people who ask for help when they really do know how, but what they are needing is to feel someone cares. I hate those.
Interesting.
I was going to say, I would say 99 times out of the 100, if I'm helping, it's probably for one of two reasons. One, I just enjoy it, and it does give me a positive sense, but more it's just, it gives me joy to help. But then there are times where, I think we've all probably helped out of obligation before based on who's asking. Maybe it's not something I really want to do, but I'm going to do it because, it's a family member or a friend that did something for me. And there is somewhat of a feeling of reciprocity, but I agree. We should know our motivations. Absolutely.
Well, and it's to share the knowledge that we've gained over the years, right? I mean, what do we go to school for? You go to school to learn,
right?
But that's a generalized knowledge. That's what everybody's learning, right? There's specific situations where what you've learned over the years can help Kent or help me or help Drew, right? And you'd be the right one to ask. There's other people. There's other situations that,
help like a mentor
or a coach.
Yeah. All right, the only thing you really need to know is this: the white-faced capuchin monkey is one of the most top 10 dangerous animals that rip your face right the fuck off. That's all you need to know.
And they're really good mentors too. They're really good. Mentors.
They do. They sit on your shoulder.
The reason here's another reason. There's another reason why people here in America find it so hard to ask for help is we don't know how to define it, right? So in other words, I'm not afraid. Listen, you're moving. I'm going to give you a hand, but I'm going to do it on my time limit. I'm not giving you 12 hours of my day.
No doubt.
Right. And you're going to make me feel bad, Drew, because I came over for a half hour to help you. Oh, God, buddy, look, we still got a lot more. Right. So when we ask for help, or we give help, we don't know how to define our limits, right? Drew, I absolutely love to help you move. I've got 45 minutes on Saturday that I can come over and give you a hand, right? Instead, when Drew's like, hey, I need your help moving, he thinks I'm two guys in a truck. You know what I mean? And so the we don't know how to define the, here, listen, all I'm asking for is an idea. I don't want you to come in, audit my books or, you know what I'm saying? So then all of a sudden, as I'm giving help, I feel bad because I only have 45 minutes and I'm like, I got to go. Look at the time. Right.
Yeah.
And Drew's like, what a douchebag. He just got here,
Right. Or you guys moving that giant desk? Yeah, I got a thing. Yeah. My goldfish. I got to wash my goldfish real quick.
My heart might want to help you move that big desk. My left knee does not want to have anything to do with it. Yeah. Well, I tell you what. One of the things from my heart, all of you that are not from Texas or Dallas, I would always say, if you ever find yourself in Dallas-Fort Worth area, you're stuck, and you don't have a place to stay, you can give me a call, and I'll pray for you.
Yeah.
Nice.
Thanks, John. Nice. I love you too, man.
He would help you allegedly.
Allegedly.
Right.
I don't even think allegedly.
Yeah.
He's just, the Motel 6 is down the way.
Yeah. They'll leave the light on for you.
Well, you know how they are in Texas. They don't dial 911.
They're bigger.
They take care of their own problem down there.
Just actually 2 nights ago, we had some friends of ours who were trying to fly out on a big vacation. They live about an hour from the airport, called us at 10:30 and said, our flight got canceled. Can we stay at your house? They stayed at our house. So that was a joke that I shared earlier.
Nice.
Some of you, how much
did you make on that, John?
I would pray. Big fat zero. Well, I'll probably get a smoked brisket out of it because he's great at smoking.
Every time I text on, it's always new phone. Who dis?
I got one of those friends. Always loser.
I keep forgetting to update your number there. Yeah, I don't know what it is.
He's got a pile of burners to avoid people. That's awesome.
He figured out that number. Got to get rid of this one. Yeah,
there you go.
That's for help.
This is a good one. Have you ever been asked to help keep a secret? How did you handle it?
How do you help keep a secret?
By keeping the secret, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, we've now just figured out how Scott has handled.
Yeah, we're not going to tell.
Well, okay. So let me be Italian about that comment.
Let me be
It's
a
So there is a
countdown.
way to help keep a
Chinese
secret.
Secret, eh?
It's like, okay, how do you help somebody keep a secret? Where do you put the body? Who's got the shovel?
That's
Right.
Shayna.
right. The no guy.
So there is always a way to help keep a secret. It's just now you're talking in those realms of where you shouldn't be helping, right?
I usually create a show and do allegedlys.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Let me tell you about
This
this
isn't
story.
allegedly a show.
Hey, that's the
Definitely.
new show. What's your name? Name of your show. Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Well, I think it's a challenge. If somebody asks you to keep a secret, that's a hard thing to answer before you know what the secret is. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
Yeah, right. Can you keep a secret?
yeah, well, I can, but if there's something that you shouldn't be sharing with me because I would feel obligated to share it or whatever, then don't tell me.
What's that, Mr. Nixon? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, sometimes it's like, what's the point of sharing a secret with somebody? I mean, I guess sometimes it might just be somebody that you can share something with, but I always found that interesting. Here's something I'm not telling anybody else but you, so don't tell anybody.
Well, if you already know the secret, it's not a secret anymore anyway.
By
That's just
definition,
that.
But you
Yeah.
also got to wonder why they're sharing it with you, right? Like, why are you telling me? If it's supposed to be a secret, I mean, because most of the time when they say that, can you keep a secret? I mean,
Well, now you're involved.
things in the
If
world.
you're involved, now it's both of us. Now we're both in it. So
Right.
now it's not just me, it's me and you. So what are we gonna do? There's like, what do you got, a mouse in your pocket? There's no we. You just don't take the secret, right?
Right.
Lisa's got a new one up there, Deke.
Yeah. If someone you truly care about asks you to help do something you really didn't agree with, how would you decide?
I'd talk through it with them, and if it really was something that I disagreed with, I probably wouldn't help them, but I would try to understand it first before I told them no.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't think of the situation. Obviously, if it's illegal, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, but sometimes if it's one of those, the best help you can give is just advice.
Yeah.
Or just be like, I got nothing for you.
And if it's a small thing I don't agree with, okay. But if it's just something, principled issue or something, then yeah, probably not gonna help with something I principally disagree with.
Again, I go back to, how would you decide? Again, I think in my heart of heart, I would help everybody. But timing is everything. Right. So, and situational, right. I'm like, well, no. And I'm not afraid to tell people, yeah, no, sorry. Hey, I need you to help me, carjack this car, or, nope, I don't have time for that. Right.
I don't have time for that. That's your reason.
I'll see you at 2:00.
Yeah. And here's a better way of doing things, to be safe,
car.
Right. But I don't have time to do that. Hey, can you help mow my lawn? Yeah, well, sure. Whatever, so I mean, but not necessarily, again, not necessarily on an illegal thing. You want to help me move, or can you help me, paint a room, or whatever the case may be. I'd be like, I would love to, but right. Drew, and happy anniversary, Scott. It's your anniversary weekend.
Thank
you.
You and Deidre,
he hasn't killed me in 28 years.
These two guys,
Yep.
these two guys love the Halloween thing. And Scott, you and Deidre are out in the Galena area, and you're like, hey, come out and watch this. And I go, I don't do Halloween. Drew, loves Halloween. I mean, his yard is incredible, lights and cameras, actions, everything. And this is their Christmas. And I'm like, yeah, I don't do Halloween. Right. And people look at me, even though they're some of my dearest friends, they're like, what do you mean you don't do? I'm like, yeah, I don't understand why adults dress up.
Hey, I have a store. I have a store that helps out with that dress up. So don't be knocking dressing up.
But
saves a lot of marriages.
But I'm not. But I guess I'm at a place in my life, and I reflect back to good old Uncle Pete, where my fuck bucket's empty. I ain't got no more fucks to give. And if I can't be honest with the people I love and who are close to me, and just go, yeah, I think it's ridiculous. You know what I mean? I don't. They should know me well enough and the people who ask for my help should know me well enough to go, all right, well, that's cool. That's who you are, right?
Just accept it and move on.
Right. But because they know that they know I will stop the world to help them in any manner. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean,
Except Halloween.
right? But except
Except
Halloween.
Halloween
right?
decorations.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, yeah.
So
like I said,
there's a
people
lot
need
of
to know
things.
you
There's a
little
lot
bit.
of things out of that makes no sense to me. But so here's the thing: you come to my house. It's Halloween. You're gonna eat good food. There's some drinks here. We're gonna laugh. We're gonna scratch. It's gonna be a great time, right? And if it's a decision to go off to Scott's and you want to end up in a basement with a zip up leather mask and a dog collar, that's on you. Either way. It could be a good time. It's just what you're into. It doesn't have to be based on a Halloween. You know what I mean?
That's
So
just Tuesday night at Scott's house, right?
Is that a ball
that's
gag?
no, Don. That's any day ending in a Y at Scott's house.
Is that a ball gag? What is that? Are the dogs playing with that? No, that's for you. Welcome.
Bring out the game.
What is this? A trapeze? That's just a swing. Don't worry.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, it turned south real fast.
It always does.
It always does. Right.
Honey, he can't breathe with the ball in his mouth. You gotta have to take it out.
Drew just sent it on a totally different trajectory.
I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable in my own
dress up.
skin. I'm comfortable in my own skin that I don't. The people who know me and ask for help, I don't have to try to soften a blow to say no.
Right.
Right. I don't have to feel like I have to give them an explanation to say no. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Well, I just thought of an interesting twist on this topic is I don't have any trouble asking other people for help, but my wife has a lot of trouble with me asking other people for help. Anybody else experience that?
I'm sorry, Don.
You were
Don, can you repeat that?
Your wife has gotten upset with me asking for help.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure she has. Yeah. No, I have no problem asking for help, but it's almost Connie is like sometimes she doesn't want me to ask. She'll no, don't ask them. Don't ask them.
Yeah, but let's be honest, and I think I know you well enough, Don. Is like if you're asking for help, it becomes an entire day. You know what? Just stay for dinner. You guys hang out. You know what I mean? It becomes a thing. At least with me, it is like, hey, all right. Well,
you do know me then, Kit, because you're right. Yeah, it doesn't. If they come over to help for half an hour, then it's pizza out on the back patio and a cold one. And
oh God,
that's probably that. You know what? That might be part of it. I'll have to investigate that, Deke, to see.
But that's the goodness of your heart to say, I really appreciate who you are and helping me. Sure. And kind of maybe our guilt because I'm the same way. It's like, I don't want here. Let me give you dinner. Just stick around.
Yeah, thank you and get out of here. Doesn't work, does it? Thank you and get out of here. Yeah,
there's the door.
Well, pre GPS. Hey, why don't we stop and ask for directions? I got this. Right.
Oh, I didn't ever care. I hate being lost, and I hate taking longer than what I had anticipated. So
I remember my father. I remember my father just being like, "We'll continue to be lost before I ask." Yeah, and I was like, "Okay." So I don't know if that kind of goes back to what Scott, was saying originally, where it's like, it's embarrassment. It's and once again, it's one of those things that generations were conditioned in. You saw your father do it, so therefore it's a thing. It's so then you do it, right? Instead of just riding your own path.
I don't know what the Midwestern goodbye.
Oh, that's the 3-day goodbye. Oh, hey, you got to say goodbye to everybody. Okay, I'm gonna be going now. Okay.
Oh, that's totally me.
Like the prison doors opened, and I had to get out as fast as I could. That's how I felt. We gotta go. The doors are open. Let's go.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of psychological reasons why Americans don't like to ask for help. And one of the signs is it's a sign of weakness, perhaps, or a sign of
the biggest one.
Lack of knowledge or something like that. It's also, what I tried to instill, or I've tried to instill in my kids. I'll certainly help you find the answer. Right. And if it's physical, whatever, I'll blow out my back to help you out. But, I've tried to instill in my family, understand what a hand out is and a hand up is. Mm-hmm. If you're asking for help, you're not asking me to do something for you while you watch. If you want me to do it, you're going to ask me to do it. Will you do this for me? right? So there's two different ways. My daughter, Lucy, absolutely will not ask for my help with her math, right? I love math. And I go, why? What? I don't understand. This is my fourth kid. She goes, well, you make everybody feel stupid when you're helping them with their math.
She understands.
Way to go, Dad.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
and I look
Nice
at my wife,
job.
and I look at my wife, right, of 31 and a half years, and she's like, yeah, you do. And I'm like,
Thanks, Alex. At least she's being honest with you, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm like,
Well, now
I'm
you're
like,
aware. But
Yeah,
now
and
they
1 plus
just
1
did
is
you a
3.
favor.
right.
They made you aware.
because I don't understand that they don't understand. So I'm like, all right,
Right.
slow down and read this again. Johnny has 2 apples,
My
right?
God.
Oh, I hated word problems.
Right? And I mean, I'm like, how do you not see 2 apples? And my brain sees 2, right? So
You're like, apples.
How about them apples?
What
How
if it was
about them
bananas?
apples?
How about them apples?
Jesus. Don't you get it?
Right.
You might as well end that with "you dummy." You know,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
Well,
Right.
exactly.
Well,
And you're
that's
not
what
saying the
right?
word, but that's what's coming out your mouth, right?
Well, that's what
She wants help on a jump shot or something like that. She'll come to Dad all day.
Yeah.
But hey, you want me to help you with? She get, she come home with a bad grade in English. I'm like, it is your mother tongue. How do you fail English? Right. Anyway, Lisa says, I battle ask for help, but I'm learning. But it comes from long ago being told I was not smart enough, and also the feeling of being let down often and not wanting to feel that anymore.
Yeah,
said. Wow. Yeah, I get
Salvador Villalobos, also from the Dallas Fort Worth area,
Salvador.
is people are afraid to ask for help because fear of being categorized as weak, dumb, or belittled.
Yep. Sign of weakness.
which is sad, because for me, when you're asking for help, you know that I think that's coming more from a smart person, right? Because they know they don't know enough or what they're looking for, so they're going to go outside and ask somebody to help them instead of just wallowing and not doing anything, like getting frozen, right? So for me, in my life, I look back and go, man, when I was in that situation, I was failing. I was floundering. I couldn't get, but when I asked for that help and got that knowledge, I started making things happen, and it made me feel good because I didn't get the response, from them, or I didn't feel like the response from them was a negative one, making me feel dumb. I actually helped better myself, and I got out of my own fucking way, right? Because we are our own worst enemy. We're our own. So I got out of my way and looked, hey, you know what? I made it so much worse in my head than what it actually was. Even though, if somebody's going to think about you or make an opinion about you because you asked a question, we can't control that, right? I mean, opinions are like assholes. Everyone has one. But if that person's giving you some constructive, information that you can actually use and move you forward, and I'm going to use that word, try not to think too deeply into it, because I think a lot of Americans do overthink situations, me included.
Scott used that terminology with me. I always thought it was like everybody's got an asshole and they all stink, right? And Scott's like, everybody's got an asshole and they all should be bleached. I don't know what that means. Lisa says
you will on Halloween if you go there.
Ken, some days I can't keep up with you, my brother. I love you to death, but wow.
Scott, Lisa says, I don't know how to get the big cabinet in my room to the other room. Please come and solve that for me.
Pass. You'll figure it out. YouTube it.
And of course, Robert Giles, welcome in, Pops, says asking for help is not a sign of weakness.
It's not, but unfortunately, I think a lot of people view it as that, right? Well, what do you mean you don't know that? Are you a dumbass?
Well, they feel that. Listen, feelings, the way they feel about it, the way it's programmed in their brain, and you can't fault them for that too, because everybody's got their glitch, right?
Absolutely.
And if you feel like somebody should be asking for your help and you're that close to them, then what you should do to help them is say, "Hey, listen, I'm in your corner." For anything you need, and leave it at that. Or would you like me to put you with somebody that knows how to do that, where it's not you? You're actually helping them by taking them outside of that spectrum. If they feel intimidated by you, or if you're too close to the picture, offer that kind of help instead. Help is help. Doesn't have to be with you.
Yeah,
So,
the help could be connecting you to someone that can help rather than be. If you ask me to help you with your car, You would not want that help. You would want me
Right.
to say, I'm no good at that, but I know a guy.
Right.
That would be the
They-
only way I'd help
yeah.
in that situation.
They're able to deal with the muffler bearings. Right.
The muffler.
Right.
It's all ball bearings these days.
All
right?
ball
It's all
bearings
ball
It
these
is.
days.
That's,
It's-
that's what
I
Fletch
got to get a
said.
bird's eye view of this. It's all ball
That's
bearings.
right. It's all
And
ball
some 30
bearings
out
today.
weight.
It's all
And
I
ball
want to go back
30
to the
out
comment
weight.
I think Lisa made about, sometimes people will belittle people for
They do.
asking for help. And I'm like, man, that says, if you're the one asking for help and someone belittles you, that says nothing about you and a lot about them. And I think that's real important to remember. Don't put that on yourself. If somebody does that to you, that's their challenge, not
Yeah.
Well
yours.
said, Don. Well
Right,
said.
well said.
I
Well
like what
said.
Shayna says.
Yeah, I
Shayna
like
says,
this.
I've been told
Right.
asking for help is a skill. With the internet, we have less need to ask. A couple hours of YouTube, but I could probably change my own muffler bearings.
Yep. And your turn signal fluid if you do it right.
What do they say? If you think
Sal
people
says-
are smarter today, the owner's manual back in the day talked about how to connect your battery. Now it tells you not to drink the battery
Yeah.
fluid.
But it's good.
Yeah, tastes like
Gives you a
berries.
charge. Huh?
It's
Uh,
yummy
Sal-
and sweet.
It wakes
Sal
me
says,
right up.
You don't know what you don't know until you know that you don't know. Usually when it's too late. Actually, Sal, that's a lie. Tune in every Friday. Shit, you'll
That's-
find out what I don't know.
That's kind of, I don't know, Dr. Susie for me in the morning.
Well, and what you don't know and you don't know it is what bites you in the butt. Yeah.
That's it. Of course, Lisa, have a great week. She's
Lisa
off to
said,
work.
I've had enough of this.
Have a good one, Lisa.
She works
Thanks for
from home.
tuning in. We appreciate you.
She's off to work. She must be going into her office.
Like, share, subscribe, folks. Like, share,
That's
subscribe.
That's it.
Right. Go to
yeah,
YouTube.
that's it.
But she's right about my son learns everything from YouTube videos. He can do just about anything.
So, Don, you're a worldly traveler.
American only traveler.
Yeah, I don't know. So, that's why I said Americans. We are the big, the bold. And we don't like to ask for help.
Right.
I don't know. If Gary were to chime in or whatever, do people around the world are they the same way? Right? We don't really ask for help.
That would be really nice to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've only traveled to Canada and Mexico.
An American problem.
We had back down many years ago. We had an exchange student from Spain. My only experience, deeper experience with getting to know somebody. She was with us for a whole school year, and this could be just very individual, but she was willing to talk freely and ask for help and things of that nature. And but that's just one example. But so I haven't traveled a lot internationally. It's just 47 of these great United States, but. Haven't gone overseas, just Canada and Mexico. So I can't speak to that, but Isabel was her name. She had she was very comfortable asking for help. And I think it's part of her personality. If you're jumping into a whole new country, you're probably going to need to ask for some help sometime.
Yeah. Sal says his son. No, I'm quoting now.
Right.
My son asked me, what is your definition of success? I said, helping those that need help or referring them to someone that can, because in this life, we all need help. I mean, that's Bob Berg, the go-giver, that's his definition of success too. Help those, and help them get what they want, and you'll end up eventually getting what you want.
You're helping up other people, right?
Ziegler,
that's Ziegler.
Yeah. But I think it's a good thing, but I also think, I think there are times in our lives where so Kelly's worldly traveler, right? She's building a school in Uganda, and she's like, my experience is it is an American problem. Uganda, they live for helping and showing up. It takes a village is lived out.
It's a village. I love that.
Yeah. That's exactly it. I mean, we've talked about that before as well. I mean, that's what you have family and friends for. I mean, granted, not always family because you don't work up, but I mean, friends are family you choose, right? And being able to help them out and go to them and hopefully be able to trust them and be like, hey, here's my issue or here's what I'm dealing with. What do you think? You might not use it, but at least being able to go to them and hopefully not feel judged or embarrassed that you're doing it, because once you get that outside help from somebody else and you realize that, you're just screwing yourself up in your own head, right? Because it's nowhere near as bad as you think it's going to be. It opens up a whole new world for you of learning and growing instead of just shooting yourself down in your own head. I mean, it's one
Yeah, I
thing.
think I don't mind that it takes a village one. I just that one makes me cringe a little bit, not because there's anything wrong with the phrase, but how it sometimes gets applied. Some people don't think it takes a village. Some people turn it over to the village.
Amen.
So that's why that one always makes me a little nervous. When properly done, where we're helping one another and all that, absolutely. But our schools, we're not. This is Peanutbutter. Our schools are an example of people turning it over to the village.
Well, yeah, right.
That was a Peanutbutter comment there. What that was.
Yeah, we like peanut butter.
We're gonna stop at the peanut butter.
Yeah, right there. No more.
Shayna, and we got to get out of here. But Shayna says, I drive my husband crazy with my version of help Tourette's. I struggle waiting to be asked. Too short for the top shelf? You're getting my help. Kind of rude.
Shayna, I love you.
Get out of the way. Help Tourette's. Help Tourette's. There is the T-shirt for the day. 206 Help Tourette's.
Help Tourette's.
Shayna and her husband would be welcome here anytime.
Anytime.
I just want the record to show that. Yeah.
Down there.
So I just got to ask though, when you travel, Don, is it in a giant monster Ford truck, diesel, with the American flag that blows the black exhaust out?
What do they say? I wasn't born in Texas, but I choose to live here. But I definitely have not, I'm not fitting the stereotype. I haven't even bought cowboy boots yet. I think I'll ever get a hat, but, and I don't have a pickup truck.
I didn't know if you use terms like Buckle 5, Ford truck.
There we go. I've had boots in my life many years ago, so I'm kind of surprised I haven't at least got a pair of cowboy boots. But you know what? It's 100 degrees outside. I'm not real excited about going to get some cowboy boots.
Yeah, but there are people down there who wear socks with sandals, so you can wear shorts with cowboy boots. Listen, these boots are made for walking. We got to get out of here. Is a great show for the rest of this week. Feel free to ask for help. Next week, friends are family that we choose. True or false? Friends are family that we choose. True or false? Come back in about a half hour. We got the bridge talking about the Gen Z and millennials, which is great. We've got innovative strategies coming in. They're going to be talking a little bit about some parenting and some coaching. And then we've got some reruns of In the Know with Steph and Joe later today because, well, it's trunk or treat day and everybody's out having fun. So for all of us here at 21.6 Net, remember to be good, but more importantly, be good to one another.
Yes. Thank you guys for tuning in. Always great to talk to you. Go out, love somebody, enjoy, and don't be afraid. That's what it's all about. Share, love, ask, like, the whole nines, right, guys?
Have a great